welcome back to Laura's Life in Dots. I'm Laura. So, what are we talking about today? Well, it's officially August 1st, and One Book July is now over. And so I thought today we'd talk about and look at what really worked for me in the One Book July process and move into how I'm going to be attacking this idea of simplifying my planning system down into one book or one notebook, I guess I should say, because I don't think I'll ever be a one book person. Adapting what I learned in the One Book July process and creating a system that's working for me right now and that I'm going to move forward with in the future. So, with that said, happy August 1st. It's been a wild ride. I've learned things I would have never guessed from the last 5 weeks worth of planning. And I'm excited to share with you where we're going to be going on my journey, because, yeah, you're coming along with me. Where we're going to be going moving into August, September, and the rest of this wild and crazy year of 2020. So, with that said, let's go ahead and flip this around and we'll take a look at what happened in July. All right, so here they are. I actually went ahead and took them out of the Chic Sparrow A5 notebook that I had them in, because today is the day I will go ahead and mark the volume numbers and archive them, put in the last few elements that I needed to, and then set these aside. They are an experiment that I have to say was absolutely successful. One Book July taught me a few things, and one of the major things is it taught me that I didn't have to compartmentalize the different facets of my life into separate entities, that I could bring it together and find that I was joyful and happy and productive. And so with that, that's the biggest thing I learned through this process, is that I was able to give myself a level of fluidity in how I was planning and journaling and exploring my creativity, and do it all together, and that it wouldn't be chaotic and it wouldn't be messing, and I didn't have to worry about, I don't know, I guess I didn't have to compare myself to others, and I was able to find something that made me happy. I'm going to set these aside because you guys have seen them. We've gone through them every week of the One Book July process, and I'm going to go ahead and bring out my beautiful documented journey notebook system that I'm going to be using moving into August. And I think it probably will last August, September, hopefully October, but I don't know. And that's okay. I have another B6 So if this notebook only lasts me 3 months, that's okay, because I have another one that I can move into. Or if I decide I want to change sizes at the end of 3 months, I can do that and move up to my A5. It doesn't matter. I have plenty of notebooks in my stash to be able to do that. And that is giving me a pretty big sense of calm, I guess you could say. The other thing that I'm using is the Life notebook, because I kept touching this paper and kept playing with it, and I really wanted to use it, and I'm really glad I did. I went ahead and moved the decorative paper elements that were on the front of it to the back, because I like seeing the pretties when I open up my notebook. And I know that this thing is going to get really chunky, and I'm okay with that. I think that it can grow and expand as I need it to. And if I have to take this out, then so be it. I have to take it out. But for right now, this is how I'm going to start. And we'll see what happens as time goes on. So this is going to be my personal journal. It's my memory keeper, my ephemera keeper. Some art is always put into it. And I'm going to continue that process because I love it. I can say that I went ahead and did some artwork yesterday, knowing that it would match what was going to happen in this journal. And so I threw it in here. You can see I'm kind of getting inspired by the roses. I've never really been a rose person, but I love these. And I wanted to recreate my own version of it. So there it is. And I actually started journaling in here this morning, and I'm going to cover it up, because there's a couple things probably people shouldn't see. But, oh well. The truth of the matter is, I don't know if you can see it, but this ink is actually this color, which I put in this silver birch fountain pen with an extra fine nib on it, and I am ecstatic because this paper takes this ink so beautifully. This ink smears at the drop of a hat. If you put a drop of water on it, it's gone. You know, it just kind of runs all over the page. But this thing went down, dried within seconds, and it's not showing up because of my lighting, but it does have an iridescence that kind of throws a magenta color to the ink as the light catches it, and it's beautiful in the sunshine. And so it's really making me happy, and I just was like, nope, I'm using this. It's going to be my journal for as long as I'm in here, and until the last page is used probably, because I've always wanted to use this ink and I haven't been able to. I will say, if you guys know of any really good waterproof colored inks out there, let me know. I've tried a few that didn't work, but please put it in the comments. I really want to start playing with colored inks. I tend to gravitate towards grays and blacks and blue so dark it looks black. But I want to have teals and magentas and those. I want to start playing with color. And so if you know of some good waterproof ones or ones that hold up really well, put those down in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. So this is already getting long, so I'm just going to dive in. We know that I have this notebook sitting there. I moved over my Mama Bear from my July planner because she was new and I just loved her, and so I moved her over. And I had to adapt to some of the paper and stuff that I already had in this notebook, and that's okay. It's working well. I was able to create some artwork for it, bring over a quote from F. Scott Fitzgerald, Beautiful and Damned. I reread that book when Sylvia from Write for Your Life had it as a book club book of the month, and you know, I've read it a couple times in the past, and I reread it, and there's a quote in there that I love, and so that came forward into this month. And then my August setup is following that same color scheme, same pattern, sort of. Laura's Life in Dots. If you guys didn't realize, I'm a sucker for flowers, vintage, and polka dots. And so I thought it would just be fitting that polka dots show up on the very first weekly spread of this notebook, because that's just me. So month on 2 pages, working great. I did set up an Alistair method for my August tasks so that I can keep better track of assigning them into the weeks. In July, I didn't do that, and I noticed that, you know, just listing them out didn't work as well. Here's that Henry David Thoreau ink on the Stalogy, and you can see I dropped some water, or I coughed or something, I don't know, or dripped some coffee, who knows. But it did bleed, and so I'm learning the Stalogy paper. I do have Noodler's Black in my TWSBI, and I will be using that, I think, for the bullet journal side, and then use the beautiful teal color. I'm so loving it for my journaling side. 2 pens is not too much. I mean, let's be honest. I have a whole desk full of pens that I'm staring at right now as I talk to you. So these are going to be the pages moving through August. I really like this, and I'm hoping it works. It just gives it a sense of, I don't know, it gives me the structure that I need without being overly done, I think. And then I am going to use a quadrant type idea, or a 4 focus idea for the month, kind of adapting from Pink Planet Planning, Karen over at Pink Planet Planning. Her focus for each month. She does it, I believe, on an 8 principle system. I'm going to use 4 of those principles, and I can go over those next week after I get done and play with it and figure out how I'm going to make that work for me. Menu is the same, but I did go ahead and cut down my habits. I realized I had a gazillion habits on my habit tracker that were truly habits. I didn't need to track them anymore because I do them every single day. And so I did get it cut down to only 7, and I picked the ones that I really need to focus on. Art, it's part of self-care, I think, but it is something that is a priority for me, showing creativity every day, and I want to see how many days out of the month I am able to do that. Exercise, as I've started this IBS journey, I have started to lose weight, which is good because I needed to, but I haven't had to exercise to do that, and I'm not losing weight for losing weight's sake. I'm losing weight as a byproduct of getting healthier all the way around. And so I want to see how exercise is going to feel. Used to be an athlete back in the day, back in college and undergraduate, and I kind of miss that aspect of my life. No spend, because let's be honest, this girl likes to spend money, and I will always have to track that. The last category that I really put in here was woohoo, and that's about focusing on my husband and I and building fun moments for just us. Kind of back like when our relationship was new and we used to go do crazy things together. We used to go hiking. We used to go, camping. We used to go and just get in the car and pick a spot and we'd drive there. Those type of things. So those fun moments. And even if it's just something in the house, picking a Netflix series and watching it together, but tracking how often we are doing that and connecting with each other. So that's my woohoo moment. Gratitude I put on 2 pages because I don't know about this B6 size if I need more or less. And then basically everything else is the same. My week is set up in the vertical, and I had fun. Burgess, I love you. Burgess Taylor, you are right. This Stalogy does take watercolor very nicely, and I was very conservative this week, but I can promise you next week there's going to be flowers blooming all over the place, and I'm going to have fun with watercolor. My weekly tasks I'll set up today. My grocery list is ready to go for the end of the week. IBS journal, I put some boxes just because I felt like putting boxes. I mean, that's the beauty of adaptive bullet journaling, is I don't have to make the spread look the same all the time. I just need certain structures. And then I am weird in that I don't like having 2 days out of a month when it comes to like daily planning and anecdotals and stuff in separate notebooks or separate months. So I start my daily pages on the first day of the month. And so this is today. And you can see it, I've already started planning here. And I took the polka dot theme and put watercolor all over and made myself some watercolors, polka dots throughout the week. And then I learned a very valuable lesson this morning. I am used to doing artwork that fits in an A5, which can be much bigger than a B6. And I'm teaching myself the intricacies of alcohol markers, and so I was making this wreath today, and I put it on some good cardstock paper because alcohol markers bleed like nobody's business. And so I put it on some paper, some thicker paper. It's a watercolor paper actually, but I made it too big to be able to do my typical, which is just to stick down on the page. So I'm going to have to learn how to downsize and resize or become much better at tipping things in, which I don't mind that this is tipped in here. I actually kind of like it. So I think I'm going to be able to play more with what I do with my artwork, especially when doing things like with alcohol marker, because I was able to put some scrapbooking paper. Let's be honest, I don't scrapbook. I buy paper for my journals. I don't scrapbook. I buy all the scrapbooking paper and stickers and supplies and stuff, and with no other intention of putting it in a journal. And so I can put some parchment paper down here, whatever, and have like a little note or quote or something from the week, or something I want to remember from this week, and I can put it there as a little memory keeping spot. So I kind of like that. It's making me think outside the box and do things differently. The polka dots were fun putting down. I can't wait to really throw some more color down on this paper. It's great. And then I'm ready to go. So it starts on the 1st, it ends on the 9th for this week as far as daily pages. But I did have to jump in here because I have a project that I had 4 or 5 meetings on last week that was, introducing me to an interface for a course that I have to develop, a user interface. And I did not want to have notes in a July notebook that's getting archived when the majority of the project was in the month of August. And so I went ahead and delineated my notes pages, and I set up my notes. And as you can see, I already have 10 pages of notes, going on. And I have a bunch more meetings on this, so this is set up and ready to go. And, I used my noodlers on here, and it worked beautifully. I don't have a lot of smearing or anything, but I didn't wait long enough. These are things you have to learn with paper. I didn't wait long enough before using my mild liners a couple of times, and I ended up getting the very shadowed highlight. So I have to learn how to use this Stalogy paper. It's very different from Scribbles That Matter or Archer and Olive, kind of those thicker papers that I've used in the past. It reminds me a lot of the Moleskine papers that I have used, and so I don't think the learning curve will be too bad. But that's where I'm at. That's what it's going to look like, and I'm excited to see what happens. I did put collections in the back. I have my references and passwords and blah, blah, blah. I do have my budget pages set up, and I do have my future log and future calendar so that I can, project map out as I need them. And if I need more collections, I'll add them to the back and keep working this way as I work from front to back with my monthlies, weeklies, and dailies. So that's it. All of this is beautifully housed in this absolutely beautiful documented journey cover, and I can't tell you guys how much I love it. I showed it to my husband. He fell in love with it. He kept petting it and touching it. Love this, but I do know myself. I know that if I'm in this for a couple of months, I might be looking for a B6 cover, another B6 cover that I love, or I may just wait till fall and see what Bree puts out in fall, and I may just put some money aside to get another B6 cover, because right now this really is the only B6 cover I would use, and that's okay. I'm going to use this until I feel the itch to maybe get a different cover, and if Bree comes out with a fall collection that I fall in love with, maybe I'll get one of those. I will say I have a few plans in the works. Later on this week, I'm going to go ahead and film a plan with me of me setting up next week so that the request for the vertical time bar tracking weekly spread can be recorded, and I can get that out for you. I will do a week in review next weekend, and I have a package coming in from a craftsman on Etsy that I wanted to share with you, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So this will be either a 2 or 3 video week. Who knows what's going to happen? But I hope that you've enjoyed hearing about my journey. We're going to continue learning and growing and doing things together, so I hope that you will stick around. And thank you. Thank you for all your comments. Please, those of you who are fountain pen users, let me know which inks work well on the Stalogy. Colored inks work well on the Stalogy and don't end up becoming a mottled mess. I would greatly appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you, and I will see you next time.